they come out clean.
What's up, everybody? Birds in the buckets. I probably smacked that against my mouth. I'm co-host Rashad Milligan. I'm here with my other co-host Malik Brown. Malik, how you doing tonight?
Living good tonight, brother. How we doing?
Man. I got a lot on my mind. But first, let's introduce the guests here. First off, we have Hawks fan up here. His name is Sid, I believe. Sid, man.
Yep. What's up, man? How y'all doing? Thank y'all for having me on.
Hey, man, no problem, man. We do this for the people. And then returning as well, the New York Knicks fan from Atlanta by way of New York. Y'all give it up for Mr. Josh Bolton.
Yeah, we in the building.
All right, man. So I want to get this off because I just had this on my mind for a long time, man. For the people, I just want to say, man, is no excuse. There's no excuse. We literally have access to the internet on our cell phones now. You pick it out of your pocket, 2 taps, you get all the information you need in the world. There is no reason why in 2021 people need to be given such lazy takes in basketball if they're going to speak publicly about basketball. I'm saying this because it's been just a constant narrative that people just kind of latch onto and then run with. And then it's like, and then you get something like tonight where it kind of, people might be surprised or upset, but it's literally what the Hawks have done all year. And it's something that, we talked about last week with how we expected the series to go. And everybody else on the outside, it just seemed like it was all New York and nobody else was playing. On the broadcast, it was all New York, no one else was playing. And I'm texting someone who's disrespecting the Hawks and Trae Young all season, and they say, the refs bailed Trae out. He didn't shoot his first free throw until 6:47 in the fourth quarter. And then he made nine free throws. 9 of his points were free throws. Take that away, he still had 23, 10, and 7. And the game winner wasn't a free throw. So, I mean, like, I get it. He still put the stop on the dime and everything, and Josh had a great point throughout the week of what he wanted to see. But my thing is just to kick off this week is people have to stop the lazy narratives, man. If you're going to comment publicly about something with basketball or something, it takes a couple minutes to Google search something. It takes a few seconds to read some articles. It takes a few seconds to look at some YouTube highlights to inform yourself, because all these takes that people have been flying about Atlanta and Trae Young has just been way off. So that's it. I just wanted to start off the show with that. Everybody, you can go around and give your opening thoughts.
Oh, man, I'll start off as the fan of the team that lost. Definitely a tough loss. Not happy about the loss, but as far as the series, definitely not concerned. Had a piss-poor game. Piss-poor performances from Reggie Bullock, Julius Randle, and R.J. Barrett. Great game from Trae Young in the supporting cast. Still only lost by 2.
And let me interject real quick, Josh, just to give the who, what, why, where. The game tonight was game 1 of the NBA playoffs, round 1, Atlanta Hawks versus the New York Knicks, 4-5 in Madison Square Garden. Final score was 107-105. Trae Young hit the game winner with 0.9 seconds left. Julius Randle took the last shot at the buzzer, but it fell short. Tibbs ran him in the ground. Let me give his minutes here. 36 minutes. Tibbs ran him into the ground, and his shot wasn't falling all night. Continue, Josh.
I got you. Exactly. With everything that Rashad just said, man. I mean, big point for me is that we had a terrible game from our starters. The fact that the game was close was actually surprising, but, it is what it is. Good win by the Hawks. They stole one in New York. That was huge for them. That was definitely huge for them. But, hate to see them, the Knicks lost, but it was good basketball, man. You can't tell me that game wasn't great to watch.
Yeah, good game. Good game. From beginning to end, it was really close-knit the whole time. Like Rashad said earlier, the whole narrative about the Knicks, it was unbearable this week, honestly, especially when you saw the ESPN, when you say everybody picking the Knicks, except like 2 people, I think, had pick the Hawks. I was like, have y'all even been watching? It just seemed like they watched the 3 games that the Hawks and Knicks played this year and was like, oh, they swept them. Got to go with the Knicks. And it's just it's crazy to see how Atlanta just continues to just get disrespected. And I feel like it was a lot of times this week where it was just multiple Hawks players just coming out talking about how they've been disrespected all year and all of this. And I was like, I mean, it's true. It feels like they're the true underdog, but this is really a even matchup. If you just look at basketball, if you watch basketball, you know that this is an even matchup, despite what happened in the regular season. So for the Hawks to come out and steal game one, this should put a lot of things in perspective, and it should actually just make people see like this is a legit team, like, and they're going to battle from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. And big shot from Trae Young. I don't know what else to say. And I mean, I will probably get into it later, but I don't think the Hawks win if Bogey doesn't catch that ball with less than a minute left. That was a big shot too. So big ups to the Hawks.
Oh yeah, for sure. Media, like NBA media in general, has gotten very lazy. And you could tell that just from, like you said, the ESPN picks. I think it was like 14 out of the 16 writers they polled chose the Knicks. Like most of them, they had Knicks in 7 or Knicks in 6, something like that. Then I saw one where it's had Knicks in 5. And I'm like, okay, let's not get carried away now. Like, granted, they had a good season, but like, who do y'all think the Hawks, the Knicks are to where they could just their first series in 7 years, they just gonna beat a team in 5 games? Like, okay, come on now. And then you had the fine for Nate McMillan. That let me know, where the NBA stands.
Hold on, Sid. The fine for Nate McMillan, a little background information. Earlier this week, before game one, Nate McMillan during practice availability, one time he said that the NBA really wants this, the league wants this. They want to see the big name teams like the Knicks, like the Celtics, like the Lakers do well. So the fact that this is their first time in the playoffs since 2014 is a huge deal, and the league wants this. So, I mean, he's not surprised at all by the media, national media, picking largely the Knicks to win the series because this is what they want and this is what the NBA wants.
Which
he was fined $25K for that.
He didn't tell a single lie. And I think everybody literally in the NBA media would have agreed with Nate's statement, except the NBA say, no, can't do that. Can't talk about us like that. So here, give us $25,000 back. So ever since that point, you kind of knew, the coverage, the takes behind the games, the narratives, they're all going to be leaning, toward the Knicks. Then you get into the broadcast. You can hear the way they talked about a Knicks basket versus the way the Hawks talked, the way the Hawks made a basket. So, I mean, just in general, granted, yes, Knicks fans, they've endured some long, hard seasons. And you've always heard that the NBA is better when the Knicks are good, which I can understand because that market, they still are more popular than the Nets. And the Nets have 3 of the best 10 players in the league, right? So, yes, we understand the NBA is better when the Knicks are good. But that doesn't mean you just completely diminish the team on the other side as well. So, hopefully now that game 1 is passed, it was a great game, regardless of if you're a fan of the team or not. But hopefully that kind of changes, the viewpoints of this team and saying like, okay, yes, the Knicks didn't get great games from Julius Randle or RJ Barrett. But at the same time, that kid on the other side of the court is a real deal. Bogey on the other side of the court is a real deal. So hopefully now they can see that this is not going to be a pushover series either way. I'm not expecting the Hawks to just completely sweep the Knicks or win in 5 games either. These are 2 evenly matched teams, and we got a great game. Both things can be true. It doesn't need to be, just complete chaos, on one side or the other. So hopefully, we get a good long series, hard-fought games, and I'm looking forward to game 2.
Josh, you look like you wanted to say something there, so I'm gonna let you respond.
It was really when you mentioned saying that the Knicks in 5 is far-fetched. I mean, I wouldn't say it's far-fetched. It's far-fetched for the Knicks to win in 5, really. I mean, as a fan, somebody who watched all 72 games, I don't think you're going to get Randall, Bullock, and RJ going 15 for 47 from the field. And if you are going to get that and you think this is an even series, it needs to be a blowout because those are 3 key pieces to the Knicks. That's 3 key pieces to an offense that struggles already. And for them to have a bad game and to only lose by 2, to be honest, if I'm a Hawks fan who you got your game from Trae, Bogey played good. You know, everybody else, I mean, it wasn't like they played, you know, well, I won't say they played good. It was like, you know, they played a decent game and you still only won by 2. So what happens when Trae Young doesn't show up? What if he doesn't, like, you know, score 32 points for you guys? Does anybody else step up?
Well, let me ask you this. On the flip side of that, are you going to get 64 points from your bench again? Are you going to get that kind of game from Alec Burks again, where he was 9 of 13 hitting turnaround jumpers? Like it goes both ways. The bench scored as much as they did because the starters stunk. Now, if the starters don't stink, you're not going to get 64 bench points either. So, I mean, I expect Randall and RJ Barrett to have a better game too. I also don't expect Alex Burke to score 27 points in 26 minutes either.
Hey, he had a great game. Don't get it twisted, but Alec Burks has had plenty of great games for us this year, man. But that's true. 64 points from the bench is definitely above average. I'm not gonna say that's like, you know, far-fetched at all. But you know, I don't expect those 3 guys that start for us. I don't expect that to happen again. So I mean, I think this game is. I mean, at first I was saying Knicks in 5. I think on the last video I said Knicks in 5. But if I had to adjust I won't even adjust my prediction yet. I guess I'll save that for the end. But yeah, it's gonna be close.
My prediction going into the series stands. Like I had Hawks in 7 with an asterisk of, but it won't be far-fetched to see Bullock and Derrick Rose going off in Game 7, and the Hawks not getting calls, and you know John Collins getting beat up down low, and Taj Gibson and Noel having their way down low, and the Hawks fans are going to be like, the refs beat us in Game 7. Atlanta's cursed. Like, that's not – like, I definitely see that as a possibility. And after Game 1, after seeing how Derrick Rose game, hey, come on, man. Hey, everybody right now, give it up for Derrick Rose. Give it up for Derrick Rose right now.
It's gonna be a good series,
Heck of a game. Heck of a game. And like Josh said, it's something he was doing all season. So that's another one of those things. If you weren't watching the Hawks, I mean, if you weren't watching the Knicks, if you weren't watching Derrick Rose, then you wouldn't know that because you wasn't watching the game. But yeah, man, to see him do what he did, man, he was killing out there, and that's something that the Hawks are gonna have to watch out for. You know, D Rose is gonna get his, like you say, Josh. Once Randall gets it going, once Barrett knocks down at least 2 of them open shots that he missed. He missed about 10 open shots.
Bro.
And, you know, but it's the same thing with the Hawks. Gallinari missed about 20 open shots. So if Gallinari make 2 of the 20 open shots he missed, RJ missed 2 of the 10 shots he missed, then, you know, then you got something of the series we kind of expected. But it was an off game from both teams. At the end of the day, Trae really just kind of made something out of nothing. Like you say, going to the line, getting it going. And it wasn't like I could get it if he was doing it all game. If he was doing that all game, and that's where most of his points came from, you could tell me that all day. Oh, Trae, he just did.
Right.
It wasn't all game. He literally didn't get to the foul line until the middle of the 4th quarter. I think that's fair game. I mean, it won't like – I seen Trae do some terrible ones where he's, you know, out at the logo and the man at the three-point line, and he leaned – to the point where it looked like he about to fall on his face, you know, and then he tried to draw the foul. He didn't do that tonight. It won't that bad. It won't that bad. So that's just my take on that. Malik, you go ahead.
Yeah, once I saw him, I think they were probably down 3. It was like maybe like mid 4th quarter, and he started doing the foul bait. And I text my group chat. I was like, foul baiting Trae has entered the game, and then he did it again. I was like, yeah. It's Tom, but I mean, like you say, it's fair game. Like he hadn't done it the first 3 quarters, and I mean that's how you gonna get easy buckets at times. And I mean, we've seen through the entire these past few games, yesterday and today, like the refs they've been holding that whistle for a couple plays, and I kind of saw it in this game as well. So I'm surprised he got some. I'm surprised he got some of them, but I mean, you got to tip your hat off to him. He knows how to play the game for sure. So and also I want to talk about just Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. Those guys were supposed to be the guys that were supposed to come in and just make an impact, and just the fact that they didn't have it. And I feel like it's because it's both of these teams are young. And I think it's kind of hard to even judge so far how this series is going to go. I thought the first game was going to be able to just tell us everything, but it just from tip off, like they both looked out of sorts. Like they haven't been here before. The crowd was rocking. I mean, Reggie Bullock didn't hit a three. That's a sniper. He wasn't hitting shots. I mean, Randall didn't look like himself. RJ didn't like himself. Noel barely did much. I mean, on the other side, the Hawks, Bogey didn't do well. Gallo didn't do well. Trae is really the outlier, honestly. John got off to a hot start. And really, I think what kept the Hawks in the game were those Lou Williams minutes.
Yeah.
Those really were big minutes for the Hawks, because it looked like at a point they were about to lose it. After the Knicks had got the lead, it looked like the Hawks were just – they didn't know where to get any offense from. And Lou came in. I think he hit a layup or maybe like a mid-range shot, then he hit the three. Like that really just calmed everything down. And I know in the post-game, Trae said that I think they were probably going to put Trae in earlier, but Trae was like, let him cook. Like, because, I mean, he knows that Lou's been here before. So Lou's know how to calm everything down. So just the fact that they both trust each other like that, I feel like that's real big. So it's a lot of different moments in this game where you could be like, okay, this is where the turning point is. But I feel like that those Lou Williams minutes and, of course, the Trae at the end of the game really set things off for the Hawks.
Yeah.
Sid, wait. I'm sorry, Sid. I'm going to go right back to you. I just want to also shout out the Knicks drafting, bro. Some great draft picks. Knicks get a lot of crap, especially from their fan base, about their drafting. Them three jokers, Barrett from last year, and then, these two jokers,
Quickly and Obi.
Yeah. Quickly and Obi.
Yeah, Obi. Quickly, definitely.
Them boys.
Boy,
yeah. Well, for sure. But everybody knew about Quickly this season. But
right.
for Obi to come on the way he has as of late and make some, a good – he made it – he had some good minutes, good runs. You know what I'm saying? And got them started a couple times. But go ahead, Sid. I'm sorry. I just wanted to shout those guys out.
I will give him credit for that, because Quickly he's had some good minutes off the bench, for most of the season, and then they traded for Derrick Rose, and it was like, oh man, is he going to take Quickly minutes, and is that going to stunt his growth? Glad it did. Obi, I'm kind of glad he came on, because Knicks fans are starting to get on his head about, like, hey man, can you do more than just dunk? Like, is there something else that you can get? But like, even just overall for the game, both teams started, they were pressing. You could see it. Both teams missed some wide open shots early. But then the Hawks started to calm down, because they, Trae was getting into the paint, got a couple lobs to Collins, and Capella. So you could see them starting to calm down a little bit. The Knicks surprised me when they were playing as much one-on-one as they did to start the game. Like, you saw Randall trying to get a lot of shots going where they were kind of forced. You saw it. RJ Barrett missed some open shots that he normally made, because he was, I think, his last 25, 27 games, he's shooting like 40% from threes, like something crazy. But he's been doing that for just about the last half of the season. He missed some open shots. Reggie Bullock missed a shot so bad. I'm like, oh my God. I think it was from like the left wing, and he hit the other side of the backboard. Didn't expect that from him. They played some of the worst basketball to start that game, and then they kind of found that footing in the second quarter. And I'm like, okay, this is what we kind of expected, where granted they got down 11, but they cut it to 4 real quick. Because, I mean, they were top 5 in threes, I want to say, this season. So the boys can shoot. It was just a matter of, were they going to do those forced threes, or were they going to get those threes in rhythm that, those catch and shoot threes that we saw most of the season, or at least in the games we played with them. They caught shoot threes and they would just, shoot us out the gym, it seemed, every time we played them. But then, in the third quarter, Hawks kind of got stagnant, and it was like, okay, tied the game. Then RJ Barrett had that breakaway dunk on Bogey, and you kind of felt like, okay.
Hold on. Why did Bogey jump? Why did Bogey jump? That's the real question. Everybody go around and give me the reasoning of why you think Bogey jumped.
It's just nature. Like, even every time in the NBA, you see somebody get yammed on like that, someone's always jumping. And it's just like, hey, I don't want to just give them an easy dunk. I'm at least try to get in his way, but that just makes it worse. And I was like,
hey, he came back with a 3 though.
And that's what I'm saying. Hey, my dog Bogey took it on the chin, but I'm like, hey, he finna turn up and kill all that noise, and boom, he hit a 3 and made him kind of forget about it a little bit. But I mean, you can kind of see like the energy, the crowd wanted to just flat out erupt, and it was, they were hoping the Knicks went on that run, and they did. They actually got up 7, and then Louisville kind of did his thing, calmed everything down.
And go ahead, Josh. Go ahead, Joshua. But before you continue,
I know we're joking about the dunk. It was cool and all. I appreciate the dunk and everything. But Nate McMillan, man, you got to look at the timeouts, man. He coached a great game today, bro.
Oh yeah. And that's something me and Rashad were talking about before we started recording, was say what you want about the Hawks, during this season. The way Nate McMillan has them playing closeout games is a complete 180 from what it was in the beginning of the season. Because even we were winning games early in the season, but if we got down 5-6 points in the fourth quarter, boom, you'd see that lead go to 10, and then boom, we end up losing by 15. And that's just because it's always panic. It was always panic modes. We had times where we couldn't even get into an offensive set in the fourth quarter. Now under Nate, it's like these guys get more calm in the fourth quarter. Even with them down 5 a couple of times, with 5 minutes left to go, they didn't rush any possessions. They got their looks. Trae got to the free throw line. Bogey hit some shots. These guys didn't panic. They didn't lose composure. They kept their poise. They did everything that you wanted a good team to do in the fourth quarter, and they did it. And that's something that I don't think folks realize about the Hawks. Like, granted, we were 27-11 when Coach Nate took over, but what you really saw was just the difference in how that team closed games. Because a lot of that win streak to really kind of get us back in the playoff picture, we were down double digits quite a few times in a couple of those games. Like I think we all remember the Raptors game where we were down 15 with like 6 minutes to go. Came back and won that game. You kind of saw.
I think Orlando, they were down by like 20.
Yeah, same thing. And you could kind of see like that kind of ingrained in them that, hey, we can still play our game even if we get down. Just keep plugging, keep pushing away, and good things will happen. And I think having a veteran coach like Nate, who's had some good teams in the playoffs now, he kind of instilled that confidence in them that, hey, just because we get down in the fourth quarter don't mean we have to fold. And they don't fold now. And that's something that, as a Hawks fan, it's a good thing to see from a professional sports team not fold late. Because we've been used to that too many times. And to have that go in the opposite direction now, I love it, man. I love it.
Don't speak too soon, Sid. It's just game 1.
No. I'm not saying like
hey,
series
it's just
over.
game 1.
No. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that as far as the series is being over with. I'm just saying, just in terms of with how the team plays down the stretch in games, period, they don't panic. And that's something like I told Rashad prior to the recording. Even if we had lost that game, I would have been upset. But I also would have seen that, like, hey, in the fourth quarter, even though we got down 7 points early, 5 points late, like, this team still fights till the end, and they give themselves a chance. That's all you can ask for coming down the stretch. Just give yourselves a chance and see what happens. And we caught the good side of it tonight. So we'll see what happens moving forward.
Josh, I want to ask you a question. Do we see Elfrid Payton anymore in this series?
Yeah. Oh man.
Be honest, bro. Be honest.
Elfrid Payton. I'll be honest with you, man. Tom Thibodeau. He is a very stubborn coach. Elfrid Payton has started all season giving the same type of production. Everything y'all saw tonight, from the contested free throws. I'm not free throws, but the contested bad layup when we got momentum, to the smoke open jump shots. Like, everything you saw tonight, -2 on the plus or minus, is what you got from Elfrid Payton all year, and he has not been benched. So
that dude yanked Elfrid Payton like 4.5 minutes into the game. I said,
No,
man.
Josh called it. He told us. He told us last week. Hey, if you're new to the channel, first of all, you need to subscribe, but then go to last week's video and hear a lot of our other stuff. Thumbs up, like Josh said. But look at last week's stuff. There's some good stuff in there too. But he said it. That first 5 minutes, that's when D Rose come in and he's a real starter. And you heard the crowd. That Joker D Rose checked in and they clapped like the man announced the starting lineup.
Yeah, let me tell y'all something, man. Like, when Elfrid Payton is in the game, it's just a matter of keeping it within 6. As long as he keeps it within 6, we are good. If we're up and Derrick Rose checks in, it's a plus. But as long as it's either even or he keeps it within 6, we're good to go. But it's 4 against 5 whenever you see Elfrid on the court, because he's nothing. He gives you nothing. No defense, no offense, no anything.
He's like an irritant that just doesn't do anything well. Because he's every time we played the Knicks that I've seen, Elfrid would do some things like he'll try to start picking up Trae 94 feet, right? Like, come on, dude. We know you're not one of them guys to just be picking up 94 feet just for the hell of it.
Sorry.
And it's always something like that. And then shortly after, he took him out. I'm like, well, I ain't finna argue with it. I'd hope you kept Elfrid Payton in the entire first quarter for me. But,
So I got another question for Josh. Do you feel like Thibodeau set up Frank at the end of the game? I mean, that was his only minute. That was the only time. Well, I'm pretty sure he got in the game. Did he get in the game at the end of the second half? I can't remember.
No, that was his only time.
Okay, that was his only time. No,
yeah.
Okay. So, do you think he set him up? He's coming in cold, and you asking a lot of him. You're asking a lot for him.
I mean, they went I forget the word, but they looked at the stats when it comes to Trae Young versus the Frank Ntilikina. Because if you go, I forgot somebody who tweeted it, but I think Trae Young is something like, I think he's only scored 19 points over the last 6 games when he matches up against Frank Ntilikina. So I think they probably went with the numbers. It was like, okay, hey, anybody but Trae can beat us. He ended up getting beat off the dribble, open layup for the win. He got beat. I got nothing. He got beat. So to answer your question, did he get him set up? I would say set him up. I best believe that Thibodeau thought he was going to get more from Frank Ntilikina. I don't think he was going to get a blow by. I don't think he put him in there to get blown by like he did, but it happened, man.
There's one player
I tell you
in
what,
the league that can stop Trae Young. His name.
I tell you what, for Frank to come in when he did, when Trae had already got kind of going in the fourth quarter, you set that man up to fail. Now, granted, if he came in maybe 5 minutes left into the game just to kind of get his legs under him, okay, fine. But by that point, Trae had already gotten to the free throw line a couple of times. He got into a groove. To have him try to guard him at that point, when Trae had already, kind of seeing how the Knicks were playing him on defense and still getting into the paint, I'm like, hey, man, I'd rather him do that with a minute left than subbing him in at that. I mean, not a minute left, 5 minutes left, than subbing him in when he did, just to say, hey, go stop that guy that's already got, 25 and counting. Yeah. Like that seems pretty, pretty messed up to do. But, hey, I'm not going to argue. Coach Tibbs knows more about basketball. He could forget more basketball than I'll ever know. At the same time, I think we can see all how the game was going. And, Trae got into a groove. Yeah. And to end that fourth quarter, to throw somebody that hadn't played, like he didn't play at all those first 3 quarters, that's kind of tough. Even for the best defender, that's tough to ask someone to come in cold and stop a guy that's gotten warmed up for 30 minutes and still, getting going in the fourth quarter. But I don't know. Maybe he changes that in game 2. I can't say that Tibbs won't start Elfrid Payton again, because, you start Elfrid Payton and then bring Derrick Rose in. Where do you bring Frank in? Because you saw how Alex Burks and Quickly played. When is that time do you bring someone like Frank in just to say, hey, go stop that guy over there and not mess up the rest of your rotation? You see what I'm saying? So, it's a catch-22, I guess, in terms of what Coach Tibbs does with his rotations. But we also know he is very stubborn.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're going to get, hey, just because Frank got beat to end the game in game 1, that, hey, I don't know if he's going to bring him in the second quarter or in the first quarter just to kind of, get him some minutes in the feel of the game. Otherwise, you're not going to get good things from a player if they're not getting any run and then just thrown into the fire at the end of the game. That don't do anybody any good, to be honest. But hey, I ain't gonna argue with it.
I guess now, like I was kind of waiting for it, getting into with Malik asking like the deeper questions of the game. So I guess it's time for like a little bit of the geekier questions on the Hawks side of things. We got to see the playoff rotation. It was something that we've been talking about on this podcast for about how many months? 2-3 months now. So solo, no solo, and obviously no Chris Dunn. Like we kind of expected pretty much. He kind of said it at the end of the regular season. But yeah, that's it. That's the big thing. And then Snell got in briefly, and Akamu got in briefly. And he rode it out with Gallo, even though Gallo had nothing going after the first quarter. Had nothing going on. And he just stuck with them. I was like, I guess if you give a guy $1 billion, you have to stick with him and just hope he eventually knocks it down. But, I guess, how'd you guys feel about the rotation for the Hawks with no solo, limited minutes from Snell and Akamu, and no Chris Dunn?
I'll say this. The way the Hawks, the way we did on the defensive glass, I think you'll get more minutes from Okongwu moving forward. Because not to say we just got completely blasted on the boards, but some of those long offensive rebounds that the Knicks got, or some of those, second and third chances, we got in there because we had Gallo and Collins as our bigs, right? And that kind of got the Knicks' energy back up when, Taj Gibson was getting those long offensive rebounds or those tap outs. Like, we can't, if you play a good defensive possession, you got to finish it with the rebound. And we didn't do a good job of that in the second half at all. So I think you might get more Okongwu at the 5 rather than someone like Collins or Gallo. Now, granted, I know you need the offense that Gallo and Collins provide, but I think you're going to have Capella or Okongwu on the floor at either time. If Capella's off, Okongwu's got to be in, and vice versa, because we can't give up offensive rebounds the way we did and then still expect to win games, moving forward. Tony Snell, we all know he could shoot, and I actually hoped he got more minutes, to be honest, because he didn't play bad. Now, granted, I know Hunter only played 22 minutes, and I know Nate wasn't going to talk about a minutes restriction, but we all know he was still going to kind of be under some restriction. Like, he wasn't going to get 30 minutes, he wasn't going to get those 32 minutes. So, for the wing defenders that we have, Snell probably going to still be in the rotation. Now, hopefully it's, maybe 8-10 minutes like it was, rather than, the 15-20, because I don't think we're gonna get that. But at the same time, Nate did a good job in leaving the second unit in, because he's not gonna run his guys into the ground. He might shorten the rotation, but he's not gonna leave Trae out there 40, 41 minutes. He's not gonna leave, Bogey out there 40, 45 minutes again, like we've seen from some other coaches. So I think moving forward, you'll still get a 9-man rotation, so to speak. But I would like to see a Congo in earlier if Capella's going to go out as early as he did, because we can't keep getting killed on the glass between Nerlens and Taj the way we did.
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise for me with the rotation was no solo minutes. I just thought that he would have kind of did good on Randall, or at least did his best on him. I felt like this season.
Malik, I have a question for you with Solo. So
Yeah,
when Gallo was really like he had nothing going, third quarter, and, Nate stuck with them third quarter through the middle of the fourth.
mm-hmm.
Excuse me, when he made the final substitutions to roll with the starters until the end of the game. I don't know. This is what I was thinking. I was like, why isn't Solo taking Gallo's minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Same position. He's a little more physical defensively. And, the only drawback is, like Maine was talking, the Solo airballs a lot of three-pointers and a lot of open. Gallo was doing the same thing. So if the only thing Gallo can do is shoot, and he ain't making no shots, then why don't you get someone who's doing the same thing as him on offense and gives you a little more on defense? That's all. I mean, how do you feel about that, with Gallo's minutes?
Yeah, that's very true. I feel like Nate probably kept Gallo in because his ceiling on offense is just higher than Solo. So, I mean, at some point, you kind of just praying that Gallo just gets it going just all of a sudden, but he didn't. So, I mean, and at that, I guess, once you realize that, I mean, it was kind of just like, might as well just keep rolling with it. I mean, no point in putting Solo in at this point now. But I'll be interested to see if that happens, something like that happens again, like next game. What does he do? But I think the fact that Hunter is back, I mean, it's without a doubt, knowing that Hunter's back, that's why Solo didn't get any minutes at all.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people were talking about. I saw a couple people on Twitter talking about how, Hunter made a big impact, I guess, on Randall. I don't think it was that much of a big impact. I mean, he started on him, but I think at the end of the day, Randall was just missing shots. Like it wasn't anything congratulating Hunter. Like, yeah, like you did. I mean, salute to your defense and whatnot. But
hey, shout out to True, man. Shout out True. Hey, legendary moment, man.
That's real shit.
Salute to your defense, but I mean, he's not the reason that Randall went 6 for 23 the whole entire game. So, but I feel like for what Hunter did, he did a solid job on him. I think Collins did a good job. I think I saw Capella on him a couple times. So, that's probably at the end of the day, I think Nate is just going to switch out. He's not going to keep one primary person on Randall. He's going to have to give him different looks throughout the game, and I think that's probably what messed Randall up too. Just seeing different looks, not seeing the same person on him the whole time.
Yeah.
So,
that's really.
But as far as the rotation, like I think the rotation was pretty solid. Herter came in, played some good minutes. Lou, of course, like I said, that stretch Lou had was big. I think Gallo will end up, turning the corner. Hopefully, game 2. And who was the fourth person? That was Snell. Yeah, Snell did pretty good as well. So I'm not sure how the combo minutes are going to go. I know I was reading the article from Chris Kirshner from The Athletic, and he was talking to Travis Schlenk about Okongwu and, how he's been doing good this season. And I think I saw like one part. I think Schlenk was actually trying to get Nate and Lloyd to actually play Okongwu at least a couple of minutes, just to get them going throughout the season. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, because I mean we saw him for about 3 minutes, and after that we didn't see him after that.
Yeah, Malik. The rotation is about 8. It was I would say it was more 8 than 9. Yeah.
Okay,
the 3
cool.
coming
Yeah,
off,
you're right.
Gallo, Lou, and Herter. That was
yeah.
the
Okay,
main 3
cool.
off the bench. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, it's correct. Shoot, Tony and Lou played the same minutes though. They played 13. Yeah,
Hey,
I'm looking at it right now.
Snell, you need to do more then. Snell, you need to, because it felt like you was in the game 2 minutes. It felt like you and the Convo came in at the same time. You hit a three and you got to steal the next possession. You passed the ball and I ain't seen you again.
Right.
So I don't
But
know what the
he
heck.
for me, he did what he was supposed to do. Like for what he is, if you don't call his name a whole lot, then he's doing something good. For me, that's how I take it. He hit his open three and he got a steal. Otherwise, I'm not saying his man wasn't torching him, so that's a good thing.
He got a C+
Right.
on my player.
Yes. Get just for the amount of minutes he got, a good C+ rating because he hit his three and he didn't let his man go off. That's all. Hey, that's all I can ask for.
Sound like a
Snell.
cornerback in the NFL. When you don't hear a cornerback name, that mean he did something good.
That's what I'm saying. You're not hearing him getting blasted on because his man just hit 2 straight threes. Then it's like, oh, come on now, what you got to do. But for Okongwu, I do hope he gets a little bit more minutes when Capella's out, because I think this experiment where Gallo comes in and we're playing Collins at the 5. Collins did well on the initial, defensive possession, except we couldn't get the rebounds to finish it off. And Kongwu, his play as of late, like his activity, we need that around the rim because that's exactly what Taj Gibson is for the Knicks. Like he don't do nothing else. He's an irritant on defense, and he gets offensive rebounds. Like we've seen that from Taj Gibson going on 10 years, right? Like that's what he does. We can't have that because every time he got an offensive rebound, you can hear the Knicks crowd kind of get louder. And it's like, okay, we starting to get something going. Now, I think he had maybe 3 offensive rebounds in a row. And I'm just like, okay, either we're just not trying on the boards or they just wanted more than us. And we can't have the latter part, that they just wanted more and we're just kind of like laying down on the rebounds. So hopefully Okongwu showing what he did in those limited minutes. Dude is active around the rim. He can switch, and he tries hard with the rebounds. Capella had 13 rebounds, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think you're going to get that. You're not going to get those 20 rebounds from those 20 rebound games from Capella in the playoffs. You need someone else to kind of come in and clean up the boards when he's playing defense and vice versa. So I think with that, you might see that going forward because Gallo, like you said, he just didn't have the night. Now, I also don't expect him to go 3-for-11 the way he did as well. But, if you're not making shots, at least give me more than 1 rebound as well on the other side of the court. Like, it's got to be something. If your shot not falling, affect the game somewhere else. Rebound, steals, something. We can't have, the 8 points and 1 rebound when you're shooting 3-for-11. Give me 4 rebounds, something. It's got to be something else there. So hopefully moving forward we get better play from those guys, but it's not going to be a real deep 9-10 man rotation like we saw in the regular season. He's gonna cut it short because if those guys ain't playing, you saw how the Knicks bench was playing. If we're not getting nothing from the bench, hey, get them starters back in as quickly as you can because we can't have that the way it went in game 1.
Right. And, going back to you, Josh, just like how'd you feel on the Knicks side of the rotation you saw? I know we talked about it last week where we were talking about the one advantage the Hawks have is depth. And you was like, hold on now, Knicks can go 10 deep too. If Hawks fans didn't believe that before tonight, they seen it tonight. So just how did you feel about the rotation and, where do you see some adjustments being made throughout the series?
The Knicks basically did what they did all season. I mean, it's a 10-man rotation. You got your starters that include Elfrid Payton and the guys. and then you got the rotational players off the bench. Actually, with Franklin Aquila playing, in the situational moment, I wouldn't even really count him in the rotation, but that's what you're gonna see all series. That the same rotation you've seen is what you're gonna get. The only adjustment I would make if I was the coach, instead of giving Elfrid Payton I think he played like 8 minutes, just start Frank. If you're gonna play him, I would just go with Frank Ntilikina.
Derrick Rose played 38 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tell you what, man. Listen, I'm glad Derrick Rose is back to playing good basketball. But the reason he had them injuries to begin with is because Tibbs was running him into the ground in Chicago.
Yeah.
Let's
That first
keep it
injury,
above
the Philly injury, that was they were up by like 12 with 2 minutes left.
They had the game. That was the game.
And that was Derrick Rose's career
in the playoffs.
He adjusted his game though, man. It's not the explosive attack the rim Derrick Rose no more.
I understand that he's changed his game for sure, but I'm saying like the reason why he had the injuries he experienced is because Tibbs would not let that man rest.
Yeah,
and you're gonna come back and granted when he traded for him, everybody knew what was going to happen. This is for a playoff run. We knew exactly what was going to happen. He cannot get more Derrick Rose than he got right now. And as soon as that trade went down, we knew exactly what was going to happen. We're going to let quickly continue his development. But Tibbs loves Derrick Rose, man.
Yeah.
And for him to play what you said, 38 minutes?
38. He played more than Julius Randle, bro.
That's crazy.
Randle played 36.
Now, granted, Derrick Rose played a hell of a game.
There's no point.
But you cannot run that dude 38 minutes to where Elfrid Payton had what? 8?
Yeah, man.
8 minutes.
8.
Ntilikina had
1 assist.
1.
Yeah, 8 minutes, 1
Dude,
assist,
it's
0.0 rebounds. Elfrid Payton, starting point guard.
How many? I know Alex Burks played 26. How many minutes did Quickly play? About 23.
I'm looking at.
I want to say
he played 21 minutes.
Okay. Give that man Derrick Rose some rest and just play Quickly. 27 minutes, dog.
Or the Trae stopper. Play the Trae stopper. You want to stop Trae Young? You don't want him to get 40 points?
Too.
Play the Trae stop.
But, dude, 38 minutes is a lot for no overtime for a bench guy. That's a lot. Now, granted, Peyton did not play well. Okay, I can understand that. But you can't tell me that Tibbs don't have another guy in that rotation that can take some of those minutes off of Derrick Rose's plate.
He's not gonna do it, man. He's not gonna do it. Only other guard we got on the bench besides Ntilikina and Peyton is Jared Harper, the kid from Auburn. He had a great
kid from Mableton. Kid from the Atlanta Sports Unlimited, man.
Oh, he played in Mableton? Oh, cool.
Yeah, he from Cobb, bro.
Yeah, I don't know why they won't give him a chance. I guess because he's a defensive liability and Tibbs doesn't play those games, but he's a bucket, man. He gave them dudes in the G League. He gave them a season this year, even though it was a shortened season. But I would love for them to give him a chance, but they haven't played him all season besides in like garbage time and blowouts. But
man, for them, I'll say this: for the Knicks to play as many guys as they do in their rotation, that guy, Derrick Rose, shouldn't be playing 38 minutes. As deep as they are, he shouldn't be playing 38 minutes to have consistently good for them, because he's still, the guy with limited knees left.
Yeah, he hasn't been doing this all season. I think Tibbs say, hey, he's going.
He has, because he'll play his 20, 25 minutes for sure. Yeah. But to just say, okay, playoffs is here now, boom, 38 minutes off the bat is crazy. Even for a non-Knicks, non-Hawks fan. He went back to normal. And I'm like, Tibbs, man, I know there's somebody else on that Knicks bench that can give you something to where you don't have to play Derrick Rose 38 minutes.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Have y'all seen that Mark Phillips meme or whatever, Supreme Dreams, where the star player goes, he's like, "Coach, I'm tired," and he's like, "You're not tired. That's exactly what Tibbs did tonight,
That's
man.
what I'm talking about. When Derrick Rose went out the game the first time for his rest, and then he was coming back, he was checking back in like a minute or two later. I'm like, bro, we barely had 3 possessions, and he's checking back in.
This is why the push for Lonzo Ball to trade deadline. I'm not sure if y'all were on Twitter, but that's why the Twitter was going crazy because we needed another guard, man.
And that's exactly why I saw a report that said Lonzo is a main target for the Knicks in offseason. Which I understand because that was just not mind-boggling because I know Tibbs. And Tibbs loves his guys the same way he signed Taj Gibson, for the season because he just loves his guys from them old Bulls teams.
They followed him to Minnesota, to New York. Like that's what I said, man. Hey, fellas, find you someone who's gonna be as loyal to you as Tibbs is to Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson.
Absolutely, because Alfred Payton too. Because it's like. We saw when they traded for Derrick Rose, it was like, okay, everybody knows it because, that's Tibbs' guy. He kind of helped put Tibbs on the map. When they signed Taj Gibson, I'm like, for what? Knicks already have like 8 power forwards on their team already. Now you're going to sign another older guy to kind of take away from the young guys, like, for what? Then we all remember Tibbs loves his guys. Like, that's just Tibbs being Tibbs, man. He loves his guys.
Not for nothing. We needed Taj, man. But actually, right now it's funny. Last year we had all the forwards. This year, big man, we real scarce down there, man.
Oh yeah, they did get hurt. Yeah, they did have some injuries to big men. Was it my man Mitchell?
Yeah, man. That
one hurt. That injury hurt for sure.
Yeah, but
I can understand the signing, but it's like, man, is it just going to be the same? The same player that we saw in Chicago in 2011 that's just going to come to New York. Like,
Dang coming out of retirement. Joakim Noah, he's already on the payroll.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, hell, he already been stealing money. Might as well sign him for the last month of the season, see what he'll give you. But, it's the same thing because, like, everybody from those Tibbs Bulls teams in the early 2010s, they've all had a lot of minutes on their bodies, man. And you just kind of hope that he don't do the same thing again. But you play Derrick Rose 38 minutes, he don't give a damn. He's just like, look, this is playoffs. This is my guy. I know what I could get from Derrick Rose in the playoffs, so I'm gonna ride him. And I'm like, man, that's tough. Now, RJ Barrett played 31 minutes, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. But I would think if we need somebody to kind of facilitate, why not just use him as a point guard for, a couple possessions and let Burks and, Bullock kind of get them threes or whatever the case is instead of, running Derrick Rose out there when dude might be tired because I don't think he's played 38 minutes.
I won't be surprised, man. I can see some adjustments coming, man. I can see a lot of Alec Burks at the 1 off the bench. I could see them pulling the trigger and just starting Derrick Rose. I can see it.
Right. Now, he started Derrick Rose. He might not even come out that whole first quarter, dog. He might run all 12 minutes and then get him a break, to start the second quarter and see what happens. Because otherwise, you know how Tibbs is with Derrick, man. That's his guy, and he don't trust nobody else. He gonna trust Derrick Rose. So I don't know. Hopefully, I'm sure we'll see some adjustments, but Derrick Rose getting less minutes is not one of
them. Malik, you got anything? Malik?
Nah, unless I know y'all was talking about adjustments. What adjustments do you think the Hawks need to make? Even though
I think you're going to see Bogey with that ball in his hands a lot more in game 2. you could kind of see it where if Trae's doing pick and roll and Bogey's on the wing, he'll make those shots like he made, at the end of the fourth quarter. But I think you see Bogey get going when he kind of looks for his shot and coming off pick and rolls. And then when he gets going, that kind of opens up the floor because you can't just, try to double trade like some teams did or whatever the case is. And I think you kind of get more from Collins, like, throughout the game. He had a strong first half, but second half, dude was pretty quiet. I think you get better games. I think Nate tries to make it a point to get those guys going first. Because Trae gonna do what Trae does. Like, that's not a concern for me. You just kind of hope that you get quality games from Collins and Bogey throughout instead of, one going off in the first quarter and then one going off, in the second half, something like that. Hopefully they can get better games from them combined. Beyond that, maybe seeing more from Capella, like more engagement from him, in offense. Now, it might not be a whole lot because Nerlens did a damn good job, with Capella and defending them lobs and stuff at the rim. So hopefully you can kind of get a little bit more engagement from Capella, but it's mainly getting Collins and Bogey going early and consistently throughout the game rather than, hey, you give me 10 points here and then I don't hear from you the rest of the game.
I guess I would say adjustments for the Hawks. I don't know. If anything, it's just like you kind of going back to rotations. It's like if one player isn't working, like I understand believing in them and keeping them in because they're eventually going to make it. I feel that way with Bogey because I've seen that with Bogey. Gallo usually doesn't have it going. Like those games that Gallo went stupid, like the Boston game where he had 32 or something like that, and they were all on threes.
Mm-hmm.
And then another game where he set the Hawks record for threes alongside Bogey that game. I think it was the Milwaukee game. I kind of want to say that, but I always point back to that Milwaukee game when I think about just people who couldn't miss. But him and
Right.
Bogey, they both made 7 threes in the game at the end of the regular season. Anyways, Gallo, if he has it going, he usually has it going that first three. Jab, pull up three with the defender in his face. He makes it slow jog back on defense. If he does that, he usually has it going. If he doesn't, it's not going to be his night. And there's no need to kind of stick with them. So I want to see, if anything, just more on-the-fly adjustments. I know everybody was going crazy about Trae not getting in until 6 minutes left, 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But, for Malik, I like that you mentioned that in the post game that Trae was like, yeah, it was me that said that because Lou was cooking. But I would like to see Lou and Trae a little more together on the floor. So if anything, it's just rotational stuff for me that I think the Hawks can adjust, moving forward in the series. And yeah, man, that's my adjustment critique. But also, I guess, kind of winding down now, we mentioned that at the beginning and we said we wanted to bring it up. So I guess, just, kind of looking at this from a big picture thing, Trae has had himself a career, a journey to this point of coming in, doubted out of Oklahoma, called a bust, and then called a boom by some people. Some people expected him to be Steph Curry. Other people expected him to be Jimmer Fredette. And then he just turned out to formulate himself well. Had a tough go in Summer League. A lot of people were kind of jumping on him from the jump, his first attempts in the Summer League, of this being the worst trade in NBA history. Bill Simmons said it. We put ats in the show and stuff like that. But, it's just a lot of crazy takes on Trae Young. And especially last year, Hawks had a terrible team, didn't make the bubble. Luka goes in there, against the Clippers. Doom, step back, rhythm at the buzzer, boom. Everybody's like, Luka, this is the worst trade in NBA history. Trae Young doesn't play winning basketball. Steve Nash said it again at the beginning of this year. Trae finally gets his moment. After, like you guys said, Luke kept him in the game. Trae takes over, does a little foul baiting thing to get the Hawks back in the game. and then takes it over 9 seconds left to win the game. What do you think this moment means for, I guess you could say, the city of Atlanta, the Hawks franchise, Trae's legacy? What do you think that shot means?
Shit. Listen, I'm so glad you posed this question because I hope we can kind of kill that noise about the Hawks lost the trade. Because, granted, yes, Mavs, they went into the bubble last year and Luka played great, right? But it seems like that trade is the only thing NBA media talks about. They don't talk about the Kings passing up on both of them and taking Marvin Bagley. You don't hear nothing about that.
Yo,
Ayton
had a great game. And, like, people don't talk about him being the number one pick. He had a great game.
Shout out to number one overall pick. Right. He's the number one overall pick. You don't hear nothing about – Suns had a damn good year. You don't hear anything about the Kings passing up on him, on Luka and Trae. All you hear is about, they traded Luka for Trae. And it's been an ongoing thing ever since. Because, to be honest, Luka and Trae are really good friends. Like, they them dudes are really good friends.
Do you believe that, Sid? Do you really believe they're good friends, or do you think it's just
No, seriously.
Social media is a very weird place, Sid. I don't know if you know as a fan. Social media is a very weird place.
Social media
some people like we buddy. They post a thing. We buddy. They walk away. I hate him. He just
but I mean, even leading up to draft and even at the the All-Star festivities, like them dudes chop it up. Like they don't have any bad blood against one another. The way the fan bases of those teams make it seem. Now with this game, I'm glad Trae performed well and actually hit the game winner, because all you heard leading up to it was, hey, what is Trae's predictions for Trae's game, right? Like numbers, what do y'all predict his numbers for be? Because literally the next tweet Buddy said was, not to relate this, but in Luka's first game, he had 42, 7, and 9. And I'm like, here we go. I already knew that was gonna be coming. So now my dog went out for 32, 7, and 10 and hit the game winner. Please stop killing that, Steve, please stop talking that noise that Hawks lost a trade. Hawks did what was best for them, the same way the Mavericks did what was best for them. They felt like they would win now last year, and they went for it. That's why they traded for Porzingis and did everything they did. Hawks knew we weren't going to be shit last season. We were playing for 2021 and beyond. Schlink made that clear. Like, we know it. Schlink made that clear. We're playing for 2021 and beyond. You saw what would happen when Trae got some good pieces around him. We were 5 seed now, and the kid was balling still. Last season, we didn't have a Bogey. We didn't have a Gallo. We didn't have a Lou Williams. We didn't have, half of these pieces. What did we do? We stomped, and we couldn't shoot. So what did Schlink do? He came and got some shooters, brought some shooters in. Now look, Hawks played some of the best basketball the last half of the season. Now, I hope moving forward, folks can put some respect on Trae now and say he's one of them guys to where you could put the team on his back and he'll bring home the game when you need him to. Boy didn't fold down the stretch. He played his game like he's been playing all year, and he had the stat line to show for it. Now, I hope you could just take a step back and say, maybe the Hawks did do what was right for them, and both teams won the trade. Hopefully that can be the outcome of it, because that's what I've been preaching all season. It doesn't have to be that one team won the trade and the other team lost it. There are times where 2 teams make a trade and they both come out of it benefiting from it. That's what we saw here. So hopefully now it can just be, hey, let the young man play basketball and see what happens. Because he's been trying to tell folks that, hey, the young guys are ready. We're looking forward to this moment. We just want to be given a chance. They've been given a chance, and the buddy performed. That's all I'm happy about now.
Yeah, I'm gonna just try to keep mine short. I mean, just off of what Rashad was saying, the trade, and then you got the summer league. He got clown summer league. It's crazy that the first game that Trae Young ever played in the regular season was against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden, I think, and I don't even think he did good that game. Like, and I'm pretty sure
15,
people,
15.
people went crazy over that game too. So I mean, from the time he jumped in, like, it's been nothing but hate towards this guy, and then he starts hooping last season, and then he gets the Devin Booker treatment, and I feel like that's what has carried over in this season too. Before Nate got in or whatnot, oh yeah, he's putting up these amazing stats, but where's the impact? Or are they going to start winning games? Like, he's a stat sheet stuffer, like all this stuff, and now. And that Trae knows, like, he's heard all of this stuff, like, dating back to when the trade happened. Like, you can tell because, first of all, he's on social media like crazy. So, of course, he sees all of this stuff. But, and second, you can see his dad is on social media. So, I mean, he's gassing it up too. So, it's like, I'm not mad at what Trae Young, all that trash talking he did after he hit the shot. Because I don't know if y'all saw it. He was still talking trash when he was going into the locker room, talking about it was real quiet. It was real, like, he said that statement about 3 different times. He said it after he hit the shot, he said it post-game TNT, and he said it walking to the locker room. So he knows, like, he hears his stuff. So I'm not mad at him for being excited. Of course, I know it's game 1.
He better back
but
it
dang,
up.
You're right. But I think this game was just like, I mean, bro, like, after all he's heard, after everything these past 3 seasons, like, I just felt like he was kind of just like a F you back to everybody else for what he did.
I mean, for the Knicks fans to even be yelling Trae Young to start the game, Buddy had done nothing to y'all. Like, I don't understand the animosity toward him to start the game anyway. The fact that he ended the game the way he did was poetic justice for me.
He showed up.
I mean,
he showed up. That's what he did.
Because I mean, it's like what it's like you said, the media, the NBA media gets lazy after a while. So when a narrative comes out about a player, it seems like everybody runs with that. He's a foul baiter. Showing highlights of all the times like he was foul baiting during the season. I'm like, dude, we had 4 free throw attempts through 3 quarters this game, if I'm not mistaken. Let alone Trae had none until, halfway through the 4th quarter. So it's like, say what you want, but you didn't see the foul bait in that game. And then to piggyback on that, you actually saw how the Hawks played as a whole. It wasn't just, Trae Young just trying to fill up the stat sheet and don't trust nobody. You saw Bogey make a clutch shot. That's something we've been doing all season, but the way folks talk about the Hawks, you wouldn't know it.
For sure,
right?
For sure.
So last season, Trae put up 27-10. It's all empty stats, where the win's at. You can't expect these players to put up numbers and overcome the shortcomings of the front office, right? Like, I think that's a fine line that people don't understand. They expect players
he's only 22. He's only like what more can he do? Exactly.
He can only do but so much. If Travis Schlenk didn't put a good roster around him, you think Trae's supposed to go 27-10 and carry a bad roster to, the playoffs? No, It don't work that way. NBA players are only as good as the roster that your front office constructs. The same thing with Devin Booker. This is his first playoff game. He's been in the league 6 years because the Suns front office has been clueless for 6 years. Right?
It's just tough. It's just, especially if you're in Phoenix, they had to force their way to Shaq a few years ago, like a whole decade ago and stuff like that. But, we shall see like what continues to happen. This is just the beginning for Trae, just the beginning for these Hawks. So, game 2 is on Wednesday. This will probably come out on Monday. And then, we also have game 3 on Friday and then game 4 on Sunday. So,
Hey, I'll be in the building for game 3.
Game
Front and
3.
center.
Yeah,
I already got it figured.
so we will see if it is going to be MSG South and State Farm Arena the way that they
Ain't no way.
said it is.
Ain't no way.
But just closing, everybody, just go around and let the people know where they can find you on social media.
Well,
Hey, I'll go ahead. Oh, go ahead. You got it, Sid.
You can follow me at Sid Don't Trip. It's SIDONTRIP. You'll see it. You can't miss it.
I got you. Hey, tough loss tonight. I think we're gonna come back strong. Game 2. Like I said before, I'm gonna be in the building. Game 3 is gonna be me and probably 10,000 other Knicks fans. We're gonna be in there loud and strong. But either way, you can come. You can come check some hot takes, some hot Knicks bias takes at my Twitter, Josh X 2_. Other than that, man, I appreciate you guys giving me the time to come on the show. I hope you have a blessed one.
You guys can find me on Twitter as always at _Malik ATL. Make sure you subscribe to Atlanta Sports Unlimited, please. If it's one thing you take away from this, subscribe.
All right, man. RashadMilling.com. You can follow me on Twitter at AMossKnicks1. Until next time, man.
And if they come out clean.